Madness at the Darkmoon Faire is here, and the meta has faced quite a large shift. When the set was first revealed, many players expected to not see a huge shift, and even if some of the top decks remain powerful, there are no shortage of new faces making themselves known on the ladder. There are quite a few decks appearing all over the ladder, and it's important to note how fast the meta evolves. Every day, new players are hitting high ranks with different decks, and we're constantly seeing a surge in what people think is the best deck. Welcome to our first Tempo Storm Meta Snapshot breakdown for the latest expansion. We're excited to tell you everything we've seen so far at the fair, but before we do, we'd like to take a moment to remind you to leave a like on the video and to subscribe to our channel here at Tempo Strategy to be kept up to date with all of our strategy game content. We have a lot of content coming up for Madness at the Darkmoon Faire, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled. Without further ado, let's jump into Tier 1 and see what decks are leading off the meta. Tier 1 in this Meta Snapshot is composed of 3 different decks and 2 different classes. These are all powerful decks that have the potential to shape the meta in the coming weeks. Only time will tell where they'll truly end up, but for now they are dominating the ladder. Let's take a look at our first deck. Leading off the meta is a rogue deck that's been around for quite some time with Combo Rogue. While you might know this archetype as Miracle or even perhaps Tempo Rogue, we felt the combo title fit best due to the nature of the deck. This archetype was already performing well prior to this snapshot, but thanks to the new cards Swindle and Foxy Fraud, the deck has been taken to new heights. Thanks to these cards, Rogue can easily cheat out huge tempo swings and has access to near infinite cycle, making it feel like they truly never run out of cards. If you're used to your opponent making a large Edwin on turn 3 and ending the game, it's time for you to get used to it happening even earlier with Foxy Fraud. Combo Rogue has seen itself hitting really high ranks in Legend, and some of the most dedicated ladder players have even brought the deck to rank 1 Legend. This archetype has a good matchup against both OTK Demon Hunter and Totem Shaman, while also bolstering a favorable matchup against the extremely popular Soul Demon Hunter. All of these decks struggle to deal with wave after wave of the Rogue's pressure, and they typically can't even amount threats of their own due to the ease Rogue has with interacting with the board. As for bad matchups, super fast decks such as Secret Hunter are proving to be difficult for the Rogue, and it's safe to assume any other aggressive decks that pop up will do the same. The second deck we're featuring in Tier 1 this time around is the previously mentioned Soul Demon Hunter. To no one's surprise, this archetype continues to find success on the ladder, and it's likely that it will continue to do that for quite a long time. Despite not running many new cards, Soul Demon Hunter was given some powerful new tools with both Bladed Lady and Il'gynoth seeming to be auto-includes in the deck. It's quite possible that this archetype will struggle in the future, especially if decks lean towards including Frozen Shadow Weaver, but for now it's a dominant force at all rankings. While this deck is a solid one to bring to ladder, we do suggest being careful of any friend requests you might receive while playing it, as it seems the player base has truly taken a hatred to it. If you're brave enough to withstand the toxicness, you're sure to see your rank increase. Soul Demon Hunter continues to have good matchups across the board, with its best ones being against some of the more aggressive board-centric decks on ladder, such as Secret Hunter or Zoo Warlock. Not only will the Demon Hunter clear your board with ease, they will also heal to full with Eldrachi Warblades, all the while killing you with their attack buffs. Soul Demon Hunter is far from unbeatable though, and its worst matchup currently is against Clown Druid. Not only are Druids running armor gain now, but a full board of taunt minions can be nearly impossible for Illidan to get through, especially if they're buffed. The last deck making an appearance in Tier 1 in the first Darkmoon Faire Meta Snapshot is Tempo Demon Hunter. It seems Demon Hunter is a pretty good class, huh? This is an archetype that you'll surely remember if you played when this class was added to the game, but it fell out in favor of the Soul variant in the previous meta. It seems like this archetype truly has been performing well and has quite a lot of potential in the newest set. Thanks to the new expansion giving it a plethora of new tools, such as Stilt Stepper and Dreadlord's Bite, the archetype has much more reach, efficient cycle, and even a new and improved weapon. When outcast, Dreadlord's Bite can oftentimes instantly win you the game against other aggressive decks and will blow your opponent out of the water in the mirror. If you're fed up of playing Soul Demon Hunter, then this is likely the deck for you, so be sure to give it a try. This deck has a favorable matchup against most other board-centric decks, as it has the option to seamlessly weave in attacks with its hero power while developing a board lead, making it nearly impossible for other aggro decks to mount a comeback. If you somehow fall behind on board, then you even have the tools to retake it or forego it altogether and just push damage to try to set up a lethal turn. Control decks or anything with a lot of healing tend to be a bit of a nuisance for the tempo deck though, making both Soul and OTK Demon Hunter bad matchups. They'll easily take you off board while healing to full, making all of your hard work feel for naught. Now that we've taken a look at Tier 1, we want to quickly take a look at the top decks leading off the second tier of our meta snapshot. While these decks find themselves at a lower rating than their Tier 1 counterparts, they are all serious contenders for the strongest ladder deck, and it's very possible that they will find themselves in the top tier in the coming weeks. We're going to take a look at the 3 best decks from this tier, so if you're interested in the rest of the tier list, be sure to head on over to tempostorm.com to view the rest of our report. Now let's jump right in. It wouldn't be a new expansion if Zoo Warlock wasn't seeing a spike in popularity and win rate. Every time a new set comes out, people tend to flock to Zoo due to how successful it is at taking advantage of unrefined decks. We aren't trying to be naysayers, but historically, if Zoos take over the meta, other decks will warp in response. If you're a Warlock fanatic, we strongly suggest taking advantage of it while you can, just in case it does fall out in the near future. Zoo Warlock has been finding itself performing best against some of the slower decks on ladder that take time to ramp, such as Clown Druid. You can build extremely large boards and prevent them from taking the time to play cards such as Overgrowth, as they'll likely die if they do. As for your bad matchups though, Zoo has a difficult time when facing off against Soul Demon Hunter the most. Despite being able to pressure them early, they will often just lock you out with an AoE or two, followed up with some form of healing. The next deck making an appearance in Tier 2 is the previously mentioned Clown Druid. While this deck might be hilarious to play, it can often feel very unfair to play against. This archetype makes use of the new card Carnival Clown to build an immensely threatening board out of nothing, and even runs 2 of the old gods as game enders. Believe it or not, a board filled with clowns buffed by survival of the fittest is not the easiest to clear. Clown Druid has been making its name known on the ladder and was living up to the hype that Carnival Clown was seeing in some of the reviews. This Druid archetype is one of the best performing decks against Soul and OTK Demon Hunter, making it a good choice for ladder if you're running into either of these archetypes. Druid's weaknesses lie in their lack of early game removal, and thus leave aggressive decks to typically run over them. If a Druid is spending his first few turns playing defensively, he also isn't gaining mana, preventing him from moving further to his own goal. Decks like Zoo Warlock or Tempo Demon Hunter tend to be the best at exploiting these weaknesses. The last deck we'll be looking at within Tier 2 this time is the new and evolved Revolve Shaman. This archetype was born thanks to its namesake card, Revolve, as well as Cage Match Custodian, giving the deck the ability to tutor out the Bogspine Knuckles. The deck also received some help with other cards, but these 2 are the ones that pushed it over the edge. This archetype has been seeing a ton of play and is one of the biggest reasons Shaman has jumped to being one of the top classes in Standard. Shaman is probably pretty surprised to see the sunlight, seeing how long it was trapped in the darkness by being a bottom class, but it's definitely making up for that now. As you'd expect, Revolve Shaman performs very well against decks with weak early games, such as Cyclone Mage or OTK Demon Hunter. You can typically build up a board of threats that is too wide for them to deal with, and even if they do make it through your board, you'll easily be able to make 1 or 2 more. Revolve Shaman has a rough time competing against decks with access to a large amount of removal, such as Soul Demon Hunter, or decks that can fight for board more aggressively, such as Tempo Demon Hunter. Recently, we haven't been giving you all a deck to counter the meta with due to how refined the meta became. It was hard to gain a significant edge with an off-meta deck in Scholomance Academy, but luckily that's past us, and we hope we can provide you with a solid deck to take to ladder. The deck that we're bringing you today is OTK Warrior. While the deck currently finds itself in the lower tiers, this deck has an insane amount of potential that seems to not yet be unlocked. This deck has a very steep learning curve and will take quite a few games to play, but it really feels as if once you get the hang of this deck, it has a lot of flexibility. The main reason to play this archetype is due to its favorable matchup against both Tempo Demon Hunter and Soul Demon Hunter, although it seems to struggle against combo Rogue. Only the future knows where this archetype will end up in a few weeks, but we here at Tempo think it has the potential to make some serious waves. Try out the deck and let us know how it does for you. We'll be eager to read your comments and see how it's treating all of you. Thanks for watching our first look into the Darkmoon Faire meta. There's a lot changing every day, and we're really excited to see how things develop in the coming weeks. As we mentioned before, be sure to keep your eyes peeled for all of our coming content, as we're excited to dive right into the Darkmoon Faire meta. What decks have you been enjoying the most thus far? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, we'd truly appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a like on our video and to subscribe to our channel. You can turn notifications on to be kept up with all of our upcoming Hearthstone content, but until then, we'll see you next time.